What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today's going to be a relatively laid-back commentary. I just wanted to kind of get something off my chest and talk about something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and this is what I personally feel has become one of the biggest issues with Call of Duty World War II, and it's not quite as obvious as a lot of people might think. I'm not referring to the lack of content at launch where we only had 9 regular multiplayer maps, I'm not referring to the connection inconsistencies and issues with that, and I'm also not referring to the division system at all. These are often the things that people point to when they're looking at the biggest issues with CoD World War II, and to me, while those are definitely issues, and I do agree with a lot of points when it comes to those issues, in my mind, the biggest issue with this game is a lack of short-term as well as long-term rewards. And I want to break this down in great detail to really illustrate what I'm talking about here. Now, in any game these days, whether that's an RPG or an FPS game or a Battle Royale game, for instance, the reward system is usually what hooks people and keeps them coming back for more. Of course, the general gameplay of the game is very important, but gameplay only takes you so far these days. In my mind, the games that are successful and that really keep people hooked are the games that have good gameplay, but they also have a solid reward system that keeps people coming back for more, game after game, day after day, week after week, and month after month. CoD World War II, in my opinion, especially compared to previous Call of Duty games, is really lacking in this area. Now, I want to separate this into long-term and short-term rewards. The long-term rewards are the things that keep you coming back like week after week or month after month. It's over the course of a longer period of time. And the first thing I want to discuss when it comes to long-term rewards is Master Prestige. In CoD World War II, hitting Master Prestige is a pretty lackluster experience. It's like you just kind of grind your way through. As you go through, yes, you get those extra class slots, and that's probably like the biggest benefit of getting to Master Prestige. But it's not something where you're like grinding for this eventual goal of hitting that and then you get this big reward at the end. If anything, it kind of sucks when you hit Master Prestige because you stop earning those supply drops every, I believe it's 5 levels that you do as you're going through the regular levels. All you really get is a calling card that doesn't really stand out all that much, and I think most Master Prestige people aren't really using that calling card anyways. You get a little icon next to your name, and your rank can go all the way up to 1,000 now, and it will appear in yellow. That's it, and I feel like Sledgehammer missed out on a big opportunity here. The reward for something like Master Prestige, if they made that a reward that people really wanted and they were willing to put the time in to work towards and work hard towards that, and it's something they were chasing over the course of several months, then I think they would see people in general putting in more hours and just working harder towards that eventual goal. As it is right now, you see a lot of people that basically just stop on whatever prestige icon they like and they stay with it, or else they just don't prestige at all because they just don't see the value in doing that. And if you're not prestiging and you're not working towards that long-term goal, you're a lot less likely to hop on that game and grind it for nearly as many hours as if you were working towards that long-term goal. So with Master Prestige, I really think there needs to be more. There needs to be something that's actually attractive and that people really want when they hit that Master Prestige rank, rather than just the minor things that they're giving us right now. This could be something as simple as a special Master Prestige uniform that really stands out and that people would actually notice. Either that, or another idea is what about give a token to a player that allows them to unlock literally any variant of any gun that they want in the game. That's something that's very attractive to a lot of people. For most people, it seems like they're chasing that one variant, but they can't really actively work towards it. All they can do is actively work to get supply drops and then hope they get lucky and get it out of those supply drops. If you gave just one token for reaching Master Prestige that allowed you to unlock any one of the variants that you wanted, that would be an excellent push for a lot of people to grind up to Master Prestige. A couple other examples for long-term rewards that I feel CoD World War II isn't taking full advantage of is first off the Chrome Camo, which admittedly they did make it look a lot better than it did before, but still on a lot of variants it's not that great. It doesn't really stand out all that much. Next is for completing 100% of the challenges in multiplayer, which a lot of completionists like to do. I don't even know what the reward is for that, and I feel like that's something that should be really prestigious, that people should really know about, and it should absolutely stand out. Maybe I'm mistaken on this, but I've never even heard of the reward for 100% mastery. And I think something like that should award you with something that really stands out, so when people see you in a lobby, it's like, holy crap, that guy completed every challenge in the game. He has no life and he's absolutely insane. Good for him. And finally, another example of something that they didn't take advantage of in CoD World War II, but they have in the past 2 Call of Duty games at least. This is a set of those hidden type challenges like the Spec Ops challenges from Infinite Warfare, or I believe they were called Dark Ops in Black Ops 3. These are the types of challenges that you work on throughout the course of the life cycle of a game. It's not just a grindy sort of challenge where you use something and complete those challenges over time, it's like a really weird one-off challenge where it doesn't happen very often. It's a really rare event that happens, or it's something that you can kind of work towards, but it's a really strange sort of challenge, and you're not really just going to be able to hop into a match and get it done right away. It's something that usually requires you to go the extra mile to complete. Completing all of those Dark Ops or Special Ops challenges, that was something that was a long-term goal that I was thinking about throughout the course of the entire life cycle of that game. And going off of that brings me to my next sort of long-term challenge. At least for some players it would be long-term. For other like really amazing players it would just be a short-term goal. But this is some sort of reward for earning a V2 rocket. That's a secret streak. That's a big deal to earn, especially for a lot of players. That's a huge deal to earn one of those. And currently, there's no reward at all for earning a V2 rocket. There's no emblem, there's no calling card, there's no weapon charm. There is nothing for you if you earn a V2 rocket. And that just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I remember back in Modern Warfare 2, I wasn't the greatest player out there at the time, and I remember grinding for, I believe it was like a solid month to get that emblem where you have to get 10 tactical nukes. And during that time, I was absolutely addicted to the game because I was chasing that high of getting another nuke added on the tally. In CoD World War II, there's nothing like that for getting a V2 rocket, or even getting 10 V2 rockets. There is no reward whatsoever. And I feel like that was an opportunity that Sledgehammer definitely missed out on. So those are some examples of the long-term rewards in CoD World War II. Now let's have a look at the short-term rewards, and what they're missing when it comes to short-term rewards. With short-term, these are the things I'm looking at more so within a gaming session. The types of things that keep you saying, just one more game, just repeatedly after every game. And the types of things where you lose track of time and find out you've been playing the game 2 hours past your bedtime. With CoD World War II, I just don't get this feeling. I enjoy the gameplay, I love playing it every day, but after a couple hours, I've just kind of done with it. Like, I'm not really grinding towards anything game after game, and there's just nothing that keeps me hooked throughout a play session. Now, they do have the daily contracts as well as daily orders, and that is definitely something that I work towards, and that does keep me playing at least for a certain length of time as I'm playing multiplayer. So I definitely think they deserve credit in that area. They did a great job with the contracts and orders, and that's awesome. But having said that, that just doesn't feel like enough. It feels just like a grind. It feels almost like a job. You log in, and you complete your tasks, and that's it. There doesn't seem to be that pull game after game that comes directly from your gameplay experience. Something that you're working towards within each one of the games and that keeps you coming back game after game. Traditionally, in Call of Duty, this has always been the kill streak or score streak system. And I strongly believe this is one of the largest factors that separated Call of Duty from other shooters on the market and got people addicted to the series. Every time you went into a game, it's like you were chasing that high of potentially earning that highest score streak that you were going for at that given moment. As you started going on a streak and you started approaching that highest streak that you were going for, the tension would start to build up, there was a big adrenaline rush, and you knew at any moment you could be killed off of that streak and you'd have to start from scratch and start working on that streak again. When you finally earned that streak, there was a big dopamine release, and it just felt so amazing to be earning one of those streaks in the game. This is the type of thing that kept people saying, just one more game, I gotta get that chopper gunner, I gotta get that swarm, I gotta get whatever it is. I really want this, and I think I can do it next game. And one of the biggest keys to this as well is it was drawn directly from the gameplay experience, and it was directly related to your skill level and your ability to handle yourself under pressure. For a lot of people, it was the #1 thing that pushed them to improve at Call of Duty. They wanted to be able to earn those higher streaks for the first time. Then they wanted to be able to earn those streaks more consistently. Now, some of you guys probably know where I'm going with this, and I know I talk about this a decent amount, but I do feel very strongly about this. This is one of the biggest issues I have with requisitions in CoD World War II. It completely devalues this in-game reward system that keeps you coming back for more and aiming for those score streaks. It's no longer a really big rush when you earn something like Paratroopers, which I personally would consider Paratroopers to be the best high streak in the game. So we're going to ignore Ball Turret Gunner. It's not really that good of a streak. Paratroopers is normally what people would consider like the best high streak in the game. The rush for earning Paratroopers the standard way, it just isn't really there, or at least not nearly to the same extent as it used to be, and this is largely due to the fact that Requisitions is in the game and balanced the way it is. Why would I want to grind game after game aiming for those paratroopers that are really difficult to earn, building up that tension, using my skill level to stay alive and keep that streak going in order to get that reward at the end of keeping that streak going? Why would I do that when I can swap out my basic training skill and I can earn a set of paratroopers every single game that I play with no tension, no build-up, no adrenaline rush? Also, if I do go into a game and I earn that set of paratroopers the standard way without requisitions, it kind of feels like a slap in the face to earn that reward and call it in and be all excited about it, but then 3 more sets of them get called in throughout the game by people that are running requisitions and didn't work nearly as hard as you worked to earn that streak. Requisitions, in my opinion, at least with the way it's balanced, where decent players can put up some of the best streaks in the game every single game that they play, this is destroying the short-term reward system in Call of Duty, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people say, well, what about the rewards for the people that are new to the game, that are casuals, and have to play against you guys that are very good at the game? To that, I would say there are much better ways to handle this, where you make the game accessible to new players and still a rewarding experience for new players, without destroying the overall reward system. This is the kind of thing where various gameplay mechanics can be used to lower the skill gap and make it a bit easier for a newer player to kill a more experienced player. And a great example of this would be the Specialist system in Black Ops 3, or the combat rigs in Infinite Warfare. These were the type of things that everybody earns at least once, pretty much every single game that you play, and they often acted as sort of an equalizer. A lesser skilled player could get something like a flamethrower in Black Ops 3, and that would often allow them to kill a more skilled player that would normally kill them if it was just a gun-on-gun fight, but because they had that flamethrower, it allows them to kill that more skilled player. I'm totally fine with these sorts of mechanics where a lesser skilled player can sometimes kill a more skilled player, every once in a while at least. You wouldn't want it to go too far by any means, but at the same time, it doesn't devalue the inherent reward system of the score streaks. So regardless of how often Requisitions turns the tides on a match and takes it from a winning game to a losing game or something like that, I think the bigger argument here against Requisitions is the fact that it devalues a reward system that Call of Duty was built on. For those newer players, there's other ways to handle it to make it more accessible. Care packages are great examples of this as well. Care packages were designed to be that thing that allowed the lesser skilled players to every once in a while have a shot at earning the highest streak in the game. It didn't completely devalue the reward system because they still had to work for that care package, and also it was a roll of the dice, and more often than not they were getting something relatively low or a medium level streak. It was quite rare that they would get extremely high streaks out of that. So I think something that could potentially bring back that game after game sort of addiction to Call of Duty would be to actually nerf Requisitions, at least make it so that it's not realistic to obtain the highest streaks in the game every single game for a decent player. Make it so when somebody calls a paratrooper in, it's actually a big deal and everyone's like, oh crap, that guy got paratroopers. And it's not more like how it is right now where you just see streak after streak, the highest streaks in the game, and it's basically just like, oh, it's Requisitions time, here they all come, just like every game. Nerfing Requisitions is the right move in my opinion if they want to bring value back to the score streaks. Of course though, these are all just my opinions. I know there's still going to be a lot of people that disagree with me about Requisitions, and that's totally fine. It's fine to have your own opinion. Personally, I'm not going to be swayed on this at all. I feel like something like Requisitions is something that's going to destroy the reward system in Call of Duty, and if you destroy the things that keep you hooked to the game and bring new players in and get them hooked into the game is doomed in the long run when it comes to keeping a player base. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's video. Of course, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on all of this? Do you agree with me that the reward system seems to be lacking in Call of Duty, especially in CoD World War II compared to recent years? And if so, what suggestions do you have to help improve the reward system to keep people hooked and coming back for more with this game? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.